Hey guys, it's Olivia and I'm back with another video. So this week I was gonna do the furry friend tag, but then I realized that next week Monday is my cat's birthday, so I said I'll just postpone that video for 1 week. So then I had to come up with a new video idea, and since my mind was already on the subject of pets, I decided to tell you guys about all the pets that I've ever had, and there's a lot. Let's begin before I even had any pets. So I originally wanted a cat, but my parents would not buy me one. At the time I had a babysitter and she had birds, so then I asked my parents if I could get a bird. So then for my 6th birthday, my dad bought me a budgie, which is like a really tiny bird. And she was yellow, so I named her Tweety because it just made sense. So then, a week later, like exactly 1 week later, I came home from youth fellowship at my church and I like ran over to my bird's cage because when something's new, it's just so fascinating. So I ran over to her cage and she was like floating in her water. Like there was a water bowl in like the center of her cage and she was just floating in it, and I broke down and I was so sad because I didn't know what happened, because like there was food and there was water, but she died and I still don't know how. So then the next day my dad bought me 2 more budgies, and one of them was yellow, so I named her Tweety again because I was 6 and didn't know a lot of words. I don't know. And so her name was Tweety, and then he got me another bird that was blue and I named him Blue Eyes, even though his eyes were black. Like his feathers were blue and he had eyes, so it made sense at the time. It still kind of makes sense, sort of. Anyways, then my dad bought himself 2 birds. He bought himself 2 parakeets, which are mini parrots that don't talk, and they were both green and they both chirped all the time and never shut their faces. And so he got a boy and a girl. I named the girl Chirpy and I named the boy Chirper because I just basically named my pets based on observations, and since they chirped all the time, those were their names. And then a few months later, my dad got me another budgie. She was white, so I named her Snowflake. Then once my mom came home from work and she left the front door open, like not like for a long time, but like as she came in, the door was open, and while she was taking off her shoes, the door was still open, and I used to let my birds out like every day to fly around the living room because they need exercise. And Blue Eyes flew out the door, and this was in winter and it was literally blizzarding, so I'm like, there is literally no way that he survived. And once again, I cried. Actually, no, I didn't, because I don't know how, but like a week before, my brothers asked, oh, what would happen if like one of your birds flew away? Would you cry like you did with the first one? And I was like, no, what? And then a week later, one of them flew away. So I felt like crying, but I didn't because I felt like my brothers would make fun of me. Then we moved houses, and then in this house, once again, my mom came home from work and the door was open and my birds were flying around the living room for their daily exercise, and Snowflake flew out the door. Then, I don't know how long after, but once again, door was open and Chirpy flew out the door. Like in hindsight, I probably should have let them out, because like I always got home from school before my mom got home from work, so I just let them out right as I got home from school so that I wouldn't forget. Now that I'm thinking back, I probably should have waited till my mom got home from work before letting them fly around. But at this time, I was maybe 7 or 8, so I was still very young and like the common sense wasn't there yet. So yeah, so now Snowflake and Chirpy had both flown out. Then, probably 2 weeks later, Chirper died from depression because he no longer had Chirpy with him. So now, the only bird that I had left was Tweety number 2. And then the house that we were living in had mice. So then my parents finally got a cat, which is the pet that I originally wanted. His name was Thunder. He was great. When we first got him, we got him from the Humane Society, which is an animal shelter, and he had been abandoned, so like he was afraid of people. So when we first got him, he hid. Like you could not find him. Like we knew he was in the house because the food was being eaten and the litter box was being used, but we never saw him. And then he eventually got used to us and he was like always out. But I had a bird and I had a cat, and those things don't really mix. And it was literally like the Bugs Bunny and Tweety show where like the cat, I think his name is Sylvester, not a word, Sylvester, and he's like always trying to eat Tweety. It was literally like that. My cat never actually ate my bird. Like, no. But he would always like walk past her cage. And so my next door neighbor was my best friend at the time, and so I gave her Tweety, and I was so sad, even though like we lived in a townhouse at the time, so our houses were attached by a wall, so technically she was still in my house because townhouses are literally just like one big house technically. Anyways, so she was my best friend, so I could go over to her house whenever I felt like it, but I was still super sad. Then we moved again, and when we were in that house, Thunder, he was an indoor cat, and I don't know how he got out, but he got out and he ran away. And since he wasn't used to outside, plus we were in a new neighborhood, he didn't find his way back home. And then after that, my best friend called me, then about, I want to say 2 or 3 years later, I don't remember, but after Thunder ran away, my friend called me to tell me that Tweety died, and I was like, why is this happening? Then, so I want to say Thunder ran away in about July of 2007, and then in August, we got my current pet. So yes, this pet is still living. Her name is Cookie, and we got her in August of 2007, and it's currently July of 2016, and she's still alive and well. I don't know where she is right now, but she's somewhere in the house. So yes, I did take care of this pet. Then, so we got her in August of 2007. Then in like November, we went to the vet to see how old she was, and they said that she was 4 months old, which means that she was born in July, but we didn't know the exact date. But then in July of 2008, she had 7 kittens, and they were born on July 18th. So since they were born in July and she was born in July, we just celebrate her birthday on July 18th because it just, I don't know, it's just a easy day to remember. And the 7 kittens, I can only remember 6 of their names, and there were 7 of them, and I can't remember the 7th name, and I'm so upset. And I know that you're not supposed to name them because then you're gonna be like sad about giving them away, but we had 2 of them for like 6 months, so I'm like, what was I supposed to refer them to? Cat? There was 2 of them. I can't do that. So there was a black one, and I named him Jaguar. There was Fluffy because I'm basic. There was Cuddles, Angel, because she was beautiful. She was like a beautiful cat. I don't know how, but she was beautiful. And there was Tiger, because why not name cats after other cats? Jaguar and Tiger. It just made sense. And then there was Oreo, because if your mother's name is Cookie, why wouldn't your name be Oreo? And then the 7th one, I can't remember for the life of me. I can't remember its name. And I just named 3 boys and 3 girls. And I can't remember if the 7th one was a boy or a girl, so that's probably why I can't remember the name. But whatever. We gave away 5 of them, and then we had 2 left. We had Cuddles and we had Jaguar. And Cuddles was really fluffy, even though my cat's not like a really big fluffy cat. She was really fluffy, and so no one wanted her because of shedding and stuff. And then Jaguar was a black cat, and people are like superstitious and stuff, so no one wanted him. So then we had them. Ooh, another thing. Back it up a little bit. When we were giving away the other kittens, like when I was giving them like to the people, I'm like, you can name them whatever you want, but like they've been responding to this name for 4 months, so like you might just want to keep this name. So it was like they didn't even, I don't know if they changed the name, but if they didn't, it's like they didn't even get to name their own pet because I already did. Because it would be so confusing. Like imagine if now your parents just changed your name. They're just like, yeah, I don't like this one anymore, this is your new name. You'd be like, and you would never respond to the new one. So I'm like, yeah, they've already been responding to this name, so you can change it, but like I wouldn't recommend it. Anyways, fast forwarding, we have 2 kittens left, and then in that Christmas, my mom and I went to Jamaica, and my dad gave them away to an animal shelter, and he gave, like, this animal shelter had previously burned down, and they lost all their pets, and then this was a new location that they had, and my dad gave them away to them, and I'm like, clearly they don't know how to take care of an animal shelter because the previous one burned down. And he's like, oh, but we can't have more than one pet, blah 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 blah, even though he had previously promised me that I could keep one of them. And I hadn't decided which one I wanted because Thunder was a really fluffy cat, so I wanted Cuddles because she was fluffy. But then Jaguar was a black cat, and I love black cats, even though some people don't, but I do. So I was like, I don't know which one. And then when I was in Jamaica, he gave them away, and I was like, wow, I'm still upset. And it's like 8 or 9, no, it's like 7 or 8 years later, I'm still upset. But anyways, I still love Cookie. I still love the mother of those kittens. And next week, she will be 9 years old, and hopefully we will be doing the furry friend tag. I don't know, she's like very stubborn, so she might not want to like sit stationary like in my lap while we film, but like hopefully I'll figure out a way. But that's all for this week's video. I just told you about a total of, I believe, 15 pets that I've had in my entire life, if you include the kittens that I didn't keep, but still I had them at one point. So I've had a total of 15 pets, if my math is correct. And yeah, that is the story of how I got them and how they left me. Oh my goodness. Anyways, that's all for this week's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give it a thumbs up. All my social media links will be down below in case you want to follow me on there. Be sure to subscribe to my channel because I make new videos every Monday, and I'll see you next week with another video.